glad to be able to be with you. My name is Channie and I'll be one of the supports for this session today. And I'm here with my team.
Totton.
Hi, Gilles.
Hi, I'm Bryce. Cahn.
Welcome. My first invitation to you is to take a sense of how connected are you to your body at this moment? I'm gonna ask you this again at the end of our session. And perhaps a number of times throughout. And we'll see what the journey has been like for each of you. As this is our time focused on you, the human beings, the superheroes, the fallible, imperfect, perfection beings that we are, of how we take good care of ourselves where we can show up to connect with our colleagues, our students, our world. So at this very moment, where are you? How connected are you, I'm going to ask, to your body at this moment? On a scale of 0, I'm not all connected to my body, to 100%, I feel connected to my body. And note that on your piece of paper. For your eyes only. And now I'd like to guide you through a grounding practice to help us deepen this assessment, to allow us to feel into our beings. Please get into any position, and we no longer need to maintain the circle, so if you want to spread out and find a solo spot, you are welcome. Want you to be able to feel your feet on the floor, or your back supported. So that might mean I lay down. That might mean I sit in a chair. That might mean I sit up and I'm going to just feel my sits bones on the ground. And maybe legs are extended, maybe they're crossed. What's going to allow you to feel the ground? Maybe I need to find some support for my back and I need to sit against the wall. Perhaps I find that my knees want to drop towards the center line of the body to allow those hip flexors to relax even further. And if you can, yes, you may adjust your position. Allow yourself the ability to lean into, feel the support of earth. This is called ground. I invite you to breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And breathe in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. The sounds are welcome. They are okay, whatever comes out of body, of all body parts, they're all welcome here. We breathe in through nose, exhale through mouth. Feel your body on the ground. We ground. We breathe in through nose, out through mouth. In through nose, out through mouth. In through nose, and out through mouth. We ground. Feel the body as we exhale. Now I invite you to settle and drop into your bones. Get heavy in your body. dropping into your bones. That's our settle. As we breathe in, exhale, breathe in, exhale, breathe in, exhale, settle into your bones. You ground and feel the earth. Inhale, 6 more repetitions on your own of grounding to breathing in through nose, out through mouth. In through nose, out through mouth. In through nose, out through mouth. Settle into the bones. That's 1 cycle. 5 more cycles, if you wish, of grounding, breathing, settling. Give yourself permission to listen to what your body is communicating to you. Maybe that asks for an adjustment. Maybe that asks for a moving or a deeper settling. As we ground and touch the earth, breathe in through nose and out through mouth. In through nose and out through mouth. And settle. Let the bones settle. As you continue to feel into your body, just gently notice what is emerging for you. Perhaps you begin with a scan, a gentle scan of gentle focus, starting at the head. Or perhaps you wish to say hello to your heart. Maybe you're moved to put a hand over heart. Or perhaps you notice your belly. I wish to say hello to your belly. As you continue to ground, breathe, and settle further back into your bones. I'm going to invite you to continue 2 to 3 more cycles if you would like. And then, after you've completed your cycles, allow your presence to come more forward back into this space. And if a foot is saying, I need to wiggle and move, honor that and let it wiggle and move. If I need to roll around. If I need to just be, it's okay to just be. Perhaps if your eyes were closed, you're opening them gently. allowing a bit more light and space around you to come into a soft focus. And if you were on your back, I encourage you to roll over to one side and maybe lay on the side for a bit before you allow one palm to ground into earth to help support the lifting up, or whatever way feels right and good for you. And I invite you to shift your focus to putting some words to how what you just felt into, what you sensed into. How am I at this moment? And you may note it down on your piece of paper. What are you sensing? Here's some words that may be helpful. You don't have to use them. Am I feeling fuzzy anywhere or bubbly? Am I feeling pushed down, or do I feel some warmth or coldness? Do I feel that I'm giving, flowing, or am I holding? Am I feeling wide and open, or am I feeling narrow and shut off? Am I feeling curvy on the inside? Feel free to also note for yourself, what are some emotions that may have emerged for you? This is your own personal check-in. How you doing? What's moving through you? Any needs at this moment? Any requests? How are we doing? So this grounding sequence I shared with you, 3 parts of grounding, breathing, and then settling, allowing the bones to drop. This is a practice introduced to me by a wonderful somatic teacher named Dr. Ruby Gibson, who practices and is committed to the work of healing within indigenous and native communities on Turtle Island as well as in Australia. And this sequencing is a part of her somatic archaeology practice. We're glad to have been able to gift it, as she said, share and use. We're going to share a number of practices with you that's for you to determine, I'm feeling to that, or no thank you. Or I put in my toolbox later, maybe not for me, but for perhaps someone else that I get to engage with. Oh, I'm going to pass to my friend Kelly over there.
Good morning, good morning. So when we were preparing to greet you today and we were sitting in our sessions, I had one of those days. And we were in our Zoom meeting, and what we started to talk about is what would work and what practices can we give, and we were having this whole conversation, and finally I was like, you know what? I was the before picture of a teacher today. Like, before I graduated from grad school, I was that before picture. I had a terrible class, and I was not a great teacher in that moment, in that day, and I realized we never talk about it, right? In acting, when we're teaching theater, we're all about the moment before. But when it comes to us as teachers, we never talk about the moments before that great class, that great production, that great moment. And chances are they came from struggle, a not great moment, if not several, where we just didn't feel like we had it under wraps. So today I'm going to invite you to take the wraps off failure. I want you to talk about it. I want you to own it, because we all do it, and we just don't talk about it, and there's no shame in it, right? How are you supposed to create something new or great if you don't have flatlining lessons? if you don't have something that absolutely bombs and you knew it was going to be great and then you got there and it wasn't, right? So I feel like teachers are kind of like, we go to these meetings and it's almost like Facebook. Like you go to these meetings about best practices and so did this and watch this, and I feel like after I look on Facebook, where everybody seems to be on vacation all the time, in a brilliant location, right? With perfect smiling children, happy spouses, totally relaxed, and I get off Facebook and feel like crap. So I don't want you to have that feeling. So today we are going to embrace the failure. So I'm going to invite you to all stand up, please.
Sorry.
And you just kind of shake it out for me. Just shake out your arms. Shake out anything. Good. And we are going to just walk around the room and just listen for directions. So please just start walking. Be mindful of the pencils on the floor. Just walking around. I just want you to explore the space. Just walk around. And just gonna walk around. I want you to think of one of those moments that was a bleep or a blunder or a flat line or a straight up bomb. Get it in your head, really visualize that moment. And now I'm gonna ask you to stop and turn to the person closest to you, and please tell them about a really big blooper of a teaching moment that you have had this year. And go for it. On your marks, get set, go.
Yeah, wherever it's comfortable. Got it. Okay. Okay. That's
I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds. Share with joy that moment where it went wrong. Did anyone stand next to somebody who had absolutely nothing to say and could not relate to this at all? No. Great. Because I saw laughter in the room, and it just got more animated as we kept talking, right? I found a really great quote from J.M. Barrie that said, "We are all failures, at least the best ones of us are." And I really loved that. And I was telling my partner, I started thinking about this because I have that, that class, right? We all have that class, right? And I was in that class, and I worked really hard on this lesson plan, like really hard. And it was not going well, and I'm so mad. Like, it was a disaster zone. My classroom looked like a popcorn machine. It was like, I'd settle one thing and it would pop up somewhere else, and I started to get really angry. And then I didn't like them, right? And you're supposed to like your kids, but in that moment I was like, these are terrible human beings. I don't like them. I did everything right, and I could feel my blood pressure going up, and blood pressure's going up, and then it gets real specific, and you I can't stand, right? And this is all going on in my head. And as it's going on in my head, my classroom is getting worse. So at one point I was like, and I could feel my heart doing this, and my blood pressure going up. And I started yelling. And I don't yell. I'm not a yeller. But there I was, and I was that before picture of a teacher who was screaming at children. And I'm sharing that with you because I think there's shame around moments where we just have compassion fatigue. And there is a limit sometimes. And in that moment, I had to stop and acknowledge it and say, I am sorry, you are making me upset, but I don't believe in yelling, and I've just yelled at you, and I'm sorry, but I need to sit down. And I did. And I had to sit there for a moment, and I said, this is for me. And I said, I don't know how to fix this. I really don't know how to fix this. I keep trying, and it's not working. Tell me how to fix this. And it's not a punishment, and I handed out pieces of paper and a pencil to all of my kids, and I said, I want you to write down what's not working. I want you to tell me why. I want you to write down what you think would make it better. Write down something I could do. I teach high school, but it could simply be what's not working and why. You could do that. And I said, and don't be afraid to say things to me. Okay? Every single child in the class, you know how kids are about writing, right? Miss, how many sentences? Miss, that's mad long. I have never seen children write for so long and uninterrupted and not ask me, and they told me. And the reason I'm telling that part of this story is I never would have gotten to the good stuff if I hadn't been a terrible, awful, not good teacher in that moment, which got me to ask the right question. So my guess is, in that all of your stories, right, there's some light that came through the cracks in the glass. So now I want you to turn to your partner, and I'll tell you the end of the story later. I want you to turn to your partner and tell them one positive thing that came out of that. How did it form your practice? How did it help you see yourself or somebody else differently? What was the light that spilled through the crack from that moment? Because I guarantee you there was one. Turn and talk to your partner. On your mark, get set, go.
I'll let you type back in there.
I was like, that's not an option. You're forcing my hand. You never said that.
Yes.
really cool is watching everybody smile. So that felt lovely to see. So I just lost my phone.
You're gonna give us the end of the story.
I wasn't there. I'm gonna give you the end of the story. So they all wrote to me, and I read it, and I highlighted the things that repeated, right? Because if 10 kids told me that this wasn't working, then that was something I should listen to. And I heard some things that I didn't love. There's one student, I swear to you, every day I was like, that child hates me. Like, she would see me and just her whole demeanor would change. I'm like, what did I do? That girl hates my guts. And so she wrote a very angry letter to me, which I thought was incredibly brave for a child to do with a teacher, and said, you don't understand. You don't understand what's going on with us. You don't understand what we're going through. You don't know what it's like. And she continued, and she was right. I am 53 years old. I do not know what it's like to be 14 or 15 years old after a pandemic. I don't. And so I brought in these letters, and I said, okay, what some of you told me is you really like design, but you really just, this acting thing freaks you out. And some of you were like, why can't we do more acting? And then some of you were like, you know, what about costumes? Like, why don't we ever do anything fun? And then some of you told me that I didn't understand you at all, and you're right. And I will do my best. But I can't do it if you don't help me. But you're right. And you do go through things that I don't know about. So, you can drop a note on my desk anonymously. You can put something in my mailbox, but if there's something I need to know, please let me know. And if I'm not that person for you, find someone. My mother-in-law always said, there's a lid for every pot. Darling, you just might not be the lid. So, but what happened is through that, and it was rough, but I realized for my own sanity, and this is where self-care comes in, right? Talking about these mistakes or these blow-ups instead of trying to get the right evaluation or put all this pressure on yourself, crap wasn't working, right? And the answer wasn't around. And now, yes, it's a lot of work. I have 4 different sections going on, but the girl who hated me has now become the head of my costume design. She's a leader, checks in with me every day, and our relationship changed because she felt heard, right? I want you to feel heard. By yourself and by each other, it's important. You deserve care. You're allowed to make mistakes. And you should be able to talk about it with your colleagues because they're having the same moment right there with you. You just don't know it, right? So, we're going to kick this model of Facebook to the side, and I encourage you, when you have one of those days, to talk to your colleague and be like, wow, that was just a bleep storm in there, right? So, we're going to do something now. How many of you have ever gotten nervous before you have a post-op? Okay. Or you get called in to your AP's office, and you don't really know what that's about, or maybe it's just 7th period and you're going into that class. So my colleague and I started this. Thank you, Stanislavski. It came out of that. Bryce, will you model this with me? And it was just a joke, but then it became something we do now all the time. She was like, I am going up to the AP right now. I am. Right? And she was nervous, and I was like, you are good at your job.
I'm good at my job.
You are so good at your job.
I'm so good at it.
It's ridiculous how good you are.
It is ridiculous.
You
how
know
good
what
I
you're
am.
doing in there.
I know what I'm doing in there.
You do know what you're doing.
Yeah, I do know what I'm doing.
You make a difference.
I make a difference.
You do. You know why? You're good at your job.
Because I'm good at my job.
You're a good teacher.
I'm a good teacher.
Okay.
All
Amen.
right.
And well, you are going to do that right now because you are, and I swear to God, it works. You start cracking up. And we continue this until the stress is gone and we have to go through the meeting and the kids are watching us. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm good at my job. Right? And so, and then I brought this practice into rehearsal with that kid who never wants to do anything. You do know what you're doing. And we started doing it that way. But this is about you. So, can you just start walking around the room? One more time. Walk around the room for me.
If that's accessible for you.
And stop, please. Find a partner you have not worked with in the last round. Introduce yourself. Good to meet you.
What age group
All right, friends, I want you to pick one of you, pick your favorite candy in the world, or sweet, and the other, pick your favorite savory, salty item in the world, right? You can keep grilled cheese for me. So can you, each of you, one of you will be the sweet, and one of you will be the salty. On your mark, get set, go. You have 10 seconds. Great. Salties, raise your hand, please. Salty, you're going to kick this off for us, and you're going to tell the person across from you how good they are at their job. And I want you to keep going until I tell you to stop, and then we're going to flip it. Let's see how you feel. Okay, here we go. You salty or sweet? You are sweet. You are good at your job. You are so good at your job. Excellent. And here we go. We're on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
But we all know he knows all. And you stick the with it. You bring out the talent. And the ones that are difficult, you figure out where the strength is. And you show them you look at your strength and the reduction of your strength. How you will put it together. You say,
And we're back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you feel, folks? Yeah? Bring this back to school with you and do it. And feel silly, because at the end, what you walk away with is this feeling every time, because you're going to start laughing. And you're going to start thinking, I am good. Here I go. Yeah, meeting. Woo! Right? And so it works. So let's play with that. Can you raise your right hand? Sorry, left hand. Put your hand over your heart. Repeat after me. Say your name. I. Kelly. Do solemnly promise. To say nice things to myself. Daily. And to remind myself. I'm good at what I do. Even when things go wrong. So I'll be kind to myself and to my colleagues. Because I deserve that. Great. Now that we have gotten the big scary stuff out of the way, right? We've all told each other our big blunders and bleepers and bloops and whatevers. Now, and nobody died, right? Everybody's good? Right. And we all know we're really good teachers. We've done that. We all, great. Now I'm going to ask you to do an exercise with me. I'm going to give you a few different prompts. And I'm going to ask you, then I'll say 1, 2, 3, freeze. And I want you to just hold it in your body. Yes, it's a tableau thing, but probably came out of my fear of dancing because I can't. So walking around the space for long periods is hard for me. So I just want you to capture the feeling or image in your brain of this thing I'm going to ask. I'm going to do 3 different prompts. And then we're going to go through an exercise after. So could you please just start walking around the space? And you're walking. And what I want you to start thinking about is, what do you think the teacher you're supposed to be look like? What is the teacher you're supposed to image in your head, and then you're about to show us that picture. It's just for you. What do you expect it to look like on the outside? And 3, 2, 1, freeze. And if you can, just let your eyes wander and take a look around you while you hold it for a second. Thank you. And relax. Take a moment to think about what this looked like, and did it match what it feels like? With who you're expected to be, take a moment to notice where that lives in your body, where it holds itself. Just kind of take a mental note. Good? Awesome. Can you start walking around? Can you get it, please? And stop. Now, can you get an image of how you feel on the inside? Some days we know what you're supposed to look like, but what do you actually feel like in your body? And just create a tableau to hold that picture for me. And take a moment to look around you, just with your eyes. Great. Thank you. And start walking. And this is going to be our last one. I want you to think of that class. Yes, that class. That administrative meeting. And I want you to start connecting with your body and how it feels when you think about that. And in a few moments, I'm going to ask you to really show that with your body. What does it feel like being in that class with that administrator at that time? And 3, 2, 1, freeze. Let your eyes look around. Thank you, and relax. I wanted to do that and note where it is in your body, right? Where did you feel it? For me, it's always here. My heart starts going really fast. So I want to give you a practice that's like fits in your travel luggage, so to speak. And I started doing this in my classes because I could build it into my warm-ups, but actually it was for me. So, can we get in a circle? Just quickly. I do box breathing daily in my class. I do 3 rounds of it. It's really quick, right? And watch what happens to your students. And then I'll tell you why in a minute. So can you just pick your finger up? We're going to breathe in for 6, hold, exhale. Breathe in for 6, hold, exhale. And I do need you to make the box. So here we go, breathing in, hold, exhale. Breathing in, hold, exhale. Second time, breathing in, hold, exhale. Breathing in, hold, exhale. Last time, breathing in, hold, exhale. Breathing in, hold, exhale. Thank you. Sometimes you just need a moment to breathe. So build it into your day, because chances are they do too. I definitely need to breathe. So I do this, and the reason I do this is because what happens in your body is it naturally calms down your nervous system. It regulates it, and it goes back to actor neutral, so to speak, right? And it does the same thing for everybody in the room. So you start from that place. Thank you for letting me be your facilitator.
Thank you. I must respond to these nuggets. May I take a moment to send this?
Yes.
Relax. your muscles, however you need. If you need to sit, lay, lounge. Kelly, your story talked about attunement.
Yeah.
To attune. To be able to ground yourself enough to be able to connect. As educators, as human beings, we are connectors. When experiencing extreme harmful stress that moves into chronic and the world of trauma, the ability to connect is what's essential in order to get us from this moment of up here fighting hyperness, or even if we're down here, hypo, low gauge to zero freeze, arousal, lack of. We want to get back to the actor neutral space. Kelly used a verbal action of asking the question, but before she did that, though, she had to ground herself. She sat down. We had to have a sense enough that I could feel into the palpitations she mentioned. And she grounded herself, felt that ground underneath her with the chair, that support. Sometimes that support might be even pressing against this wall, or feet, or as we started, with grounding and feeling the earth. Those are 3 strategies right there to help you get to moments of connecting. Then with a verbal action, a repetition. These are all things in your toolbox that can be activated by you and then even shared in your classroom when you're able to recognize these needs. Anyone wish to speak to what the act of the repetition did for you or didn't do for you? Because that was the first verbal higher moment. I hear somebody. Yes.
I loved it. It was very affirming. And the things that I said to my partner, I wanted to say to myself too. And yeah, I had a physical reaction too. I just kind of jumped up and did all these victory stances and
Yes.
things. It felt great and like taking me out of myself.
Did you feel that you needed a bit of an energy boost personally?
Before this meeting? Or
At that moment in space, did it add more energy to you, or did it give you more flow, or help reel it in and contain it a bit more? What was your need?
it gave me more energy.
More energy. So our needs are also going to be different depending on the being. That sort of outwardness, maybe go way too much exposure. Let me actually be here a little closer in, but still fluid and moving. Maybe got some curviness happening. Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying, is that everybody has like different needs and everybody has different problems. And a lot of times I feel like I'm the freaking cheerleader in my school, trying to give, because I'm also like the union rep, and I'm like telling you're doing great, you know. And I know exactly who I'm going to go tomorrow and say that to, because she had the art teacher. She was like, now she's doubting everything that she's doing because she didn't have a great observation. And it's just one class, one snippet of, you know, all the classes you have. They come twice a year. And I'm like, this is not who you are. It was just that one class. So it was like, so it's nice to have it in your repertoire of how you can help your friends or yourself. But like for her, that's all I thought of, this one girl who was like self-doubting herself because she had one bad, and I don't even think it was that bad, observation. But it really makes you self-doubt all your lessons, makes you self-doubt who you are you doing the right thing? She's like, maybe I should go, you know, maybe I should try thinking of changing my job. I was like, what? You know? And I'm like, no, you know your stuff. It's just one lesson. So I really think it's a good thing to have.
We'll take one more feedback, and again, attuning, what needs to happen first, the ground in order to actually ground, to then connect, to then give. The repetition was the give. One more, and then we'll continue on.
I just wanted to shout out I'm sorry, remind me of your name. Mary. Because one thing she did that my brain was not working well enough to do was like really vary the various things she said, which for me was really effective because I've had a very stressful couple of weeks. So it wasn't just like you're a great teacher. It was like your administration would be lost without you. You know, your kids look up to you. And I think in doing this exercise, being able to vary it like that is so important. And it was really helpful.
Especially if you know the person, if you know the
Yeah.
person more.
Lovely. Thank you all. My interjection's finished.
Boom, all right. So, everybody, we're going to do what works for you. So we focused on some active exercises. Now we're going to work on a external sort of sensorial thing. We have our 5 senses. One of my favorite senses is sound. So if you didn't already notice by the music that was playing when you walked in and the music that I was able to interject, we're going to start to focus on sound. Sound is vibratory energy. It has a huge amount, which I won't go into the neuroscience of it, of the ability to impact us. So we're going to focus on some different types of sounds, and you can get up, you can sit still, you can do whatever. And what I want you to do is focus on what the sound has the ability to do for you. You might need to use sound to get you hyped at the beginning of the day, like whatever that song is. I'm not necessarily, like I will try to curate some of the songs maybe later, but I want you to be also thinking for yourself. Say when you are having that moment, say like that Kelly had, and express to you, maybe, I'm not saying that this was the solution, but say in that moment, if she needed to just take a few minutes, be like, you know what, I need a moment, and then what's going to put on a sound, say for the classroom. What might that sound be? Would it be the waves of an ocean? Would it be a Dua Lipa song? You know, the question is like, what would work in that moment? So right now, we're going to just do like a little sound exploration. I'll put on our first sound, and again, whatever the song calls out for you to do, feel free to do that, okay? Notice what it does to your body. The other thing that we want to focus on is that when we are stressed, the stress isn't out there. It's living in here. It lives in our heart, it lives in our gut, maybe it goes up, and we want to be able to really focus on what can I do in that moment, maybe using sound to help regulate myself. Okay, so if the sound makes you want to get up and walk around, feel free, but again, this is going to really be your moment. We're not going to live in these sounds for like a long, long time, but we will get enough time to kind of just get a sense of connection and not hearing my voice. I welcome you to do whatever it is that you need for your body with the various sounds, also noticing what impact the sound is having on your physical being. Thinking if any of these sounds would work in your classroom. If so, how might your students react? But again, that's an afterthought because this moment is for you. So if it does something for you, then it's true. dealing with little maniacs. I mean, we all have our inner Jennifer Beal. I mean, come on. You don't, again, do what works for you. This song might be like, I don't want it to do anything negative. Right? All right, if we can make our way into a circle. All right, we're gonna finish up with just a little shakeout. We all know this one. 8, 5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We start right, we go left, we go foot, we go foot, we go 4, 4, 4, 4. I like to do 2 times, and then we'll do a single, and then we're gonna do a freeze. Freeze in whatever you feel is your most empowered, awesome teacher self. All right? Here we go, starting with the left. In 4, 3, 2, count it down from 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Take it to 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 2 times. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Take it to singles. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 2 more. 1, 1, 1. 1 more. 1, 1, 1, 1. And freeze. All right. All right. So, just briefly, I know we don't get to live in these lanes as long as we want to, but this is a session with 4 facilitators, so therefore I don't want to take up the floor the entire time. We share the mic. We're like In Vogue. We all sing the harmony. Hey, all right, I sing the bottom or the top, whichever one it is. No middle. All right, so just thinking for yourselves really briefly, just as Channie did. Just reflect on if you noticed anything that you felt, any light bulb moment. If you didn't, that's totally fine as well. But what did the power of sound do for you? Make any light bulb moments? Anything you want to share?
I just think sound calms me. Yeah. I just need it for calming. I don't know other people, but for me, I need it for calming.
Good, sound. So then some more of the beginner sounds were like that I played in the opening
Yes.
are more things that you need to get kind of keep you regulated during your day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
I really visualized a lot as different sounds. I was in a different setting, you know, I could picture myself at the beach and be a really good like warm-up exercise for different settings and tableaus and things.
Yeah, to go off of that, the environmental sounds really help because I'll be trying to relax, but then my mind goes, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. But then if you come back to I'm at the beach, then you can just focus on that.
That's great.
Also, it totally relates to our last exercise to kind of hype you up too. Like you can be that cheerleader through music as well, for yourself and for others.
Really oddly, music kind of quiets the noise. It has like this weirdly opposite effect that it can totally just kind of center you.
Yeah, because it grounds us to the present if we're allowing ourselves to really listen and feeling that vibratory energy of what the music is doing. Anything else? Yes.
The lyrics in the songs are so important for me. Like it's like this message from above, how to be, in a sense.
So then the song that I played with
Yes,
the woman singing,
absolutely.
yeah.
I decided I just wanted to lie still, and I found it really pointed out. Like the one with the, like, very steady beat and drums. Like, I could tell that was making me anxious. I felt my heart start beating in a different way. Whereas the last one, Maniac, I sort of just felt myself smiling, but by not moving to it, I could sort of in tune with the, like, I don't know, natural physical effects. Yeah, the heartbeat,
Chaos, I
pressure,
call
all
it
those
chaos.
kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to be like, you know what? I just need a maniac moment. I'm feeling so many things. I'm mad, I'm happy, I'm sad. There we go. All right, well, thank you all. Again, so this is just, again, an additional tool that you can put in your toolkit, and I'm going to pass it to you.
Thank you, Gilles.
You're welcome.
Oh, that was fun.
And I have your sound if you need it.
Hi, everyone. So,
have to teach is like humanity, right? How to be like a full, juicy, living human being at all times. Right? And, you know, because these are all reflexive practices, right? And you might be thinking, oh, I could do this with my students, right? And that's true. That is true. And at the same time, if we're going to teach full, juicy humanity, right? There is a saying that you can't teach swimming from a textbook. And if our juicy humanity has been depleted, then we've lost one of our primary interventions with our students, which is our own nervous system. Right? And so I want to talk a little bit and explore with you how can I track my nervous system in the middle of the chaos, right? When I'm not in this room, right? But when I'm in my space with everything that's going to happen with my students who, as Dr. LeBlanc spells out in his book, right? They're traveling on this continuum of stress and chronic stress and trauma, and you're traveling on this continuum of stress and chronic stress and trauma coming from where you're coming from, right? And in a perfect situation, my attention in that space would be about 50-50, right? It would be about 50% inside world, right? What neuroscientists are going to call interoception, and 50% exterior world, right? Exteroception. On a normal day, I'm like 90-10, right? Because I got 27 humans running around me. Where are you on a normal day? Like, do you approach 50-50? I'm monitoring the inside world. I know what's going on in the outside world. Are you at like 99-1? I have my 99-1 moments, right? That tends to be when I'm going to lose it. It tends to be when I'm going to get pulled in one of two places, right? Either I'm going to get pulled off balance into vicarious trauma. I'm going to become a mirror of what my students are giving to me, right? Or I'm going to be pulled in the other direction, off balance, into compassion fatigue. That my juicy humanity is going to get shut down. At the one extreme of activation, myself personally, I can be explosive. And at the other extreme of activation, even if it's only in my interior world, I can be cruel. And then I've lost my juicy humanity in both. Yeah. Yeah, yes. Right? I can be unkind. I can lose sight of my students' humanity and my humanity. Right? I become subject and they become object. So, how do we come to the middle? Right? How do we keep track of ourselves while we're keeping track of them? So that we can continually self-correct as we're being pulled through our day. Right? So, what I want to explore with you are a few practices, some of which involve us going in and some of which involve us coming out, where we can do that. Right? We can take a moment, and it's really can be a moment of checking in. Where am I today? Right? So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do, if you're standing or if you're sitting, is begin just by feeling your feet against the floor. Just take a moment and press your feet against the floor. Right? You can try shifting your weight. If you're using a chair today, you can try just pushing down lightly. That feeling's always there. Our minds filter it out because we don't need it, right? But that feeling's always there. In the same way that when you first put on your shoes in the morning, you feel your shoes around your feet, and after you've taken 10 steps, you stop. But the feeling's there, right? a moment, and if it's available to you, you can let your eyes close, and if not, that's fine. And just offer yourself the feeling of your feet into the ground. So that we're finding an anchor through the touch points of the body against the earth. And if you're sitting, you might feel your sit bones of your back against the chair. And now offer yourself a deep breath. And move your attention on purpose from the feeling of your feet against the ground to the feeling of air flowing in and air flowing out. And offer your body a deep breath and see if you can again move your attention to air flowing in and air flowing out. Do that for 3 breaths. Breathing in, know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, know that you're breathing out. And now moving your attention again. This is an interesting room to do this with. Find a sound outside your body. Maybe it's the hum of the lights, or the very slight static coming from the live speaker, or the breath of a person next to you. So allowing our attention to move from the confines of our body out of our body. I'm so grateful when a fire engine passes my classroom, because it's an opportunity to move way outside my body and check in. And allow your eyes gently to open if you've been keeping them closed. And find a color in the room that's not attached to a person. So we're intentionally moving away from faces. When our attention is feeling overwhelmed, faces are a tremendous amount of information. And it can be really helpful in a moment of activation to move away from faces. Find a color. And take a moment and notice for yourself. On that continuum of activation, right? From I'm up here in too much, I'm down here in too little, right? I'm too live a wire to what's happening around me. I'm shut down to what's happening around me. Right? Notice where you are. Notice that there's another voice that wants to come in and judge where you are, and table that. Right? We're not going to get in an argument with our minds. Our minds are too good a litigator. We can't win that argument. So we say, thank you for that information. I don't need it right now. I'm going to come back to the information of my body against the earth, to the information of my breath, to the information of sound. And notice myself coming back to the center. And begin again. What I love about all these practices is I can do them if my students don't know it. That I can take a moment in the classroom and look away from faces. I have a window, so I'll look out that. There's no window in here. So I might look at the blue wall. Right? I can take a moment and slow down on walking through the room and notice my feet press against the floor for 3 steps. I can take a breath. And I can keep asking that question from moment to moment, like, where am I at? And begin again. motivation to dive and back. Take a moment and think of a time you were activated in the classroom, right? A time you were up here. Yeah, recently for me. Daily sometimes. Where did you feel the activation? Where does it live? Right? Turn and tell someone near you. Where do you notice activation lives for you? Where do you go?
We're in the thick of it right now, so finish your shower. Oh, soon, yeah.
I felt it.
I would love that.
This was a situation, this was like,
And let's come back together and invite a few people to share out. When you experience activation, right? Where does that live? Where in your humanity does that settle? Right? For a lot of people, they feel it here. One of the first things that happens when our sympathetic nervous system is activated is digestion stops. So this becomes tight. And pulse changes, so this becomes tight. And blood vessels dilate, so these become tight. Right? Who experiences a closing in on the body? Yeah. Sure. What's it like when you feel shut down in the classroom? When you go in the opposite direction and you lose your humanity, you lose your students' humanity. Where do you feel that? Can we talk?
My head.
Survival game. To be like, now the chaos is just happening. You're just trying to get yourself to survive and not kind of think about that. Just thinking.
Stress. Your main thing was frustrated. So I was like, distracted. Like, so
We're in the middle. Okay, yeah. So we had, so we're not too far.
I think when you get to the May or June, you start counting, because you're close. Quality of interacting and my body of
And it's like right then, there's always like, it's not. It's like,
I'll be like, I'll just be like,
thank you for these beautiful shares all around the room. As I was wandering around, I was hearing such powerful ideas about a feeling of being stuck, a feeling of being here, right? A feeling of being trapped. I heard the image of being underwater, right? And what all those images felt like is loss, right? There's a great quote from James Joyce in Ulysses where he describes a character by saying, Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body. Who is sometimes there, right? Yeah, living that short distance from your body. So, the invitation, right? To bring us a little bit full circle and sort of close this part out, is to continually come back, right? Is to say, can I find a touch point for 3 steps? Can I find space for 3 breaths, right? Can I find something out of my body to connect with? Can I find a sound that will wake me up into the moment again and again, right? I hope that's useful to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.